Hi everyone, it's great to have you tuning in for yet another episode. Please hit that subscribe button. Your support and love means so much and it helps us get these quality guests like I'm about to introduce to you today. This guy is a proud Indigenous man. He's one of the greatest athletes to ever lace up a footy boot. He's a proud leader as well in his community. He owns an academy, and that man is Greg Inglis. How are you, brother?
Saucy, Joshy Mansour. How you been, brother?
Mate, I'm very good. We only called up 2 weeks ago.
So it wasn't great for you, was it?
Well, it wasn't at all. Mate, can I just say, let's paint the picture. So we jumped in a Red Bull plane and it was an adrenaline experience. Anyway, this plane has taken us up and down, taken us to, I think it took us all the way up to 8 Gs, so 8 Gs of force, which is like 8 times our body weight.
Mainly you.
Well, I'm not going to compare because you're a bigger man than me. But, I don't even know how you fit in that bloody thing.
I don't know either. I'll tell you what, I was cramped up there, but as long as I was cramped and I felt in tight, I was still secure.
And you know what? Watching the video back, I was like watching closely and I'm like, this guy looks unfazed. Like he looks sweet. But you had the visors down and you had your eyes closed the whole time. That's exactly.
Mate, if you had your eyes closed, I reckon I would have been worse. I reckon I would have been you, full of sweat. Like, mate, even when you came out of the plane and laid on the tarmac and you got up, it was a sweat patch.
Mate, I was covered. I was pale.
Didn't you have Origin that night?
Yeah, I don't know how. Man, I left, drove home. Man, I'll drive home, like just barely holding onto this wheel. Barely looking up, looking straight, get home, don't acknowledge my kids, don't acknowledge my missus, walk straight upstairs, went straight to bed, fell asleep, woke up at 4:30. That's what I was like. I was out cold for like 3-4 hours, man. I was rattled.
It didn't help me when I was, giving you all this shit beforehand.
Because I don't get head noise as it is.
Yeah, just getting your head a little bit.
Did it not affect you at all, just quietly?
Oh, look, it did, but at the same time, I enjoyed it. When I was up there, I was just saying, I love this. I'd love to go again and, do a bit more flips. But
you're a fucking sick bastard.
I think the next one's going to be in the V8 coming down Mount Panorama. That'll be unreal.
I think I'll be better, obviously, because we're on the ground. But anyway, let's see when it happens. Mate, how's things with you?
Mate, things are going pretty busy at the moment. But it's a really good balance because I got my Goanna Academy, which I started 5 years ago, but also taking up an assistant coaching role with NRLW Tigers with old Melbourne Storm boy, Brett Kamali. So
how did that come about?
Yeah, well, it came about. Well, Shane Richardson was the CEO of South, and Richo got me here out South Sydney to start off with, and when he took over at West Tigers, there he made the phone call to me because he knew I had an interest in women's rugby league, being more of a mentor in behind the scenes of, around the women. And he just asked, would I be interested? And I said, I'm definitely interested, but it has to come from Noddy, from Brett Kamali. And, he was all for it. He gave me a ring. He rang me up and just asked how much would I be involved. And I said, mate, if you want me in, I'm all in, but just say no and realise that I also have my own academy up and running that, takes up a bit of time.
Of course. I was going to say, because obviously your words hold a lot of weight in the game. From what you've done in the game, you're all respected. Why do you feel more connected with the women rather than the men? Like, why did you want to kind of coach there?
Oh, because it goes back to early childhood. I see my sister come through and play, and, like you hear most female athletes speak about it now around the sport is they had to stop at a certain age, 13, 14, and they couldn't play, so they'd find other avenues to play sport.
Yeah.
But going to Koori knockouts at a younger age and seeing, old aunties play, see my mother play, older cousins in the female sports. So it was something that I was always interested in. And I think, passing on my knowledge onto them, I just love seeing them develop as players and as athletes. And, when you're dealing with female in that environment, one thing they love is being direct with them, and they need clear instructions on what they always want feedback. So you got to give them, direct feedback with that. But you also got to be careful of not overstepping and, and
because they're more emotional beings than males.
Some you can, and others you can be direct but be assertive at the same time.
And that's just obviously understanding everyone's personality, of course, when you get to that point, right?
Yeah, like how would you cope it if someone came straight to you and be direct?
I'd rather that. I like that. At least, but then I'll know straight away what I have to work on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It might be hard truths, But in the day, all right, that's what I need to work on.
Yeah.
I've got a goal. Just need to work at it, get to that point,
Yeah.
and all good. That's all sweet.
Yeah.
So I personally hate like beating around the bush. You know what I mean? Like I hate the games. I hate being manipulated. Like if you've got a problem with me, if you think I need to work on something, just tell me. Don't say it's all sweet. Don't just give me a pat on the back. You'll be all right. Just keep working hard. Give me direct, clear communication, and I'll do it, and I'll work for you.
Yeah, well, that's exactly like the women. But you also got to treat them as people first. You can't have really grey areas around them.
Of course.
But like I just said, some you can be direct with and have hard conversations with. Others you can be direct but be very assertive as well and take a little bit of a tone back in a way.
Yep. A lot of lessons there for sure. I'm sure you still loaded the ropes.
Oh, mate, I'm still learning. But, but for me, it's cool because I got to do my Goanna Academy and now I'll get to give back into rugby league. So, it balances my life out.
Talk to me about Goanna Academy.
Well, it started 5 years ago. It started through, my own challenges when I retired. And I think that's probably a gap that we're missing is when players are coming towards the end of their retirement, we don't really get taught or trained into what life after footy could be like. Yes, it's getting better now, and it can get a hell lot better, to be honest. We have, all clubs have welfare officers in there, or they have educators in there that can give them those tools, or give them courses and that to do when they come out, even 2 years earlier prior to that.
Yeah.
But for me, it was I thought I could just walk away from the game and just go into a corporate kind of world where I thought corporate was just about
being an ambassador.
Taking them out for dinners, taking them out for lunch, trying to get sponsors, trying to get money into the club. And I didn't really, really understood my role. And I guess it goes back to what I just said before about being direct. You give me something and, I'll do it. But this year I didn't really understood it. So it came for a downfall. Turned to drinking because I thought I had to do that there to get sponsorship into the club.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not blaming anyone else. It was my own fault because I didn't ask questions. I didn't ask what's the best way to maneuver around this here, and put my hand up and ask for help.
Yeah. And
that's where it all came undone for me.
I think we're gonna get to your journey in a minute, but first thing I want to talk about is this stick with a campaign. So this tape around your wrist. What are you trying to encourage? Why did you want to promote this great initiative? And I believe it's for round 22, right?
Round 22, and the reason why I chose round 22 is because it goes with our female round magic round as well in Newcastle. So you see a lot of athletes wearing that. It's about, let's put it this way. You can go to the doctor and you go see, people and you see bandages, see wraps and all that there stuff. And it's a conversation on what's wrong, what'd you do. With the mental health, you can't really see it. So with the strapping tape, stick with it campaign.
I love that.
Launched it 2 weeks ago. It's also encouragement of being, resilient around it. It's people, you see athletes write messages and that, of who they're playing for or what it. So really encourage them to write anything on there, what it means to them, whether they lost a loved one through suicide or they know somebody is going through it, or if it's something that's meaningful to them, we can visibly see it. But, it's about, showing resilience. We keep moving forward, raise awareness around mental health and mental illness, and we want to reduce the suicide rate in Australia. So what I want to see is what I just said, reduce the suicide rate in Australia, but also see higher numbers of people reaching out and going to these health services.
And it's okay to be vulnerable, right? Like, I think we live in a society where we don't want to burden other people with our own personal burden. And we don't want to look weak by saying, oh, you know what, I'm having a tough time dealing with this. But like, it's actually okay. And I learned that probably at the back end of my career.
Yeah.
I think you and I kind of played in the same era where when we first started, it was more of an older man's game. Like, all the experienced players got the respect. And when we were young bucks coming through, like, you just deal with it, shut up. But I think you're starting to see a trend now reverse and change, right? Which is a good thing.
Yeah, you can voice. I think it's always been where you can voice your opinions.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's when I came through, it was just get in, do your job, and just
Be
get on with
grateful.
it. Yeah, and I still am grateful for what I've done throughout the game. And there's a lot of players that played a big role. A lot of people in my life that played a big role in the shape the player who I was and the person I am today. But again, it's we have a voice now, and we can talk about it, and we're open, and a lot of that's got to do with social media.
100%.
But in saying that, you got to be careful what you put out there, because what you put out there stays out there. So there are a lot of athletes. There's a lot of people in this world that have a voice and that do carry a lot of weight behind them, and do have a lot of followers on social media. So they all also got to be mindful for what they put out there, in a positive way. But it goes, again, what you just said before, it's okay not to be okay, and that's all right, as long as they're seen or seeking help and putting their hand up and asking for help.
For sure, brother. Like we've all seen for you personally, your own journey, we've seen all the highlight reels, right? We've seen the Greg Inglis, the GI on the football field, and you've been quite brave enough to obviously tell everyone about your lowest point in your life and how you had to overcome those challenges. Why was it important for you to come out when you did?
Oh, well, for me, I had to, because if I didn't, I'll speak about, I'm open and honest about it now. 7 years ago, I was dead and buried. To be honest, I couldn't get up out of bed. I couldn't even put pants on. I couldn't do anything. And I disappeared for like 5 days. Nobody could find where I was. I had no phone, had no wallet, just walking around, didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. And, that really hit home for me. And lucky enough, my sister found me, and my wife found me as well. So, ringing up hospitals, ringing up police stations, and just couldn't really, ringing up people that they thought that would be around, and they couldn't find me. So once they did find me, my sister came pick me up. I went back home. I detoxed in the room for 2 weeks before I made my way back down to Sydney, and had a meeting with Richo. I wouldn't say a meeting. It was just, going around and say, do you need help? And I said, yes, I actually do. I really need help, because it turned to prescription drugs, turned to not just drinking one bottle of red wine. It turned to 4 bottles of red wine, to six beers, and then popping pills, painkillers, prescription drugs. And then, like I said, it came to days where you'll find it very hard to pull, actually get up and get dressed and have a shower and walk out. I got paranoid of walking down the street, but I knew how to master that, and nobody knew. So I did that there, and it was quite hard therapy. It was 3 weeks intense, 3 weeks intense of therapy.
When was this, sorry?
That would have been 2019, maybe 2018. That came about.
What triggered it, if you don't mind me asking?
I think it was just didn't know how to deal with life after footy. Pretty much triggered it. But when I was in there for that 3 weeks, it came back to early childhood when I was 13 years old. And thinking about it now and being diagnosed with what I have, really going back and looking at my life and looking at the events, is like, that's why I was feeling that way. That's, it all makes sense now. I've been diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder, depression, and anxiety. And
can I say, sorry to cut you off, I would never have thought that. Like, we've played on 3 tours together, and not once I would have ever picked up you had any of those 3.
Yeah, because that was my, when I was feeling down and I'll go to training, that's my high.
That was your outlet. Yeah.
That was my outlet.
Makes sense.
Training, playing, being around a group of boys, and just doing what I love doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's sort of done a 3, full circle now, where I'm back in the rugby league. I'm spreading the word of mental health and sharing my own story. I'm open, I'm honest, and nothing's really off limits with me anymore, where before it was. It's like couldn't break down that barrier for me, because I just didn't allow people in. Where now I just, I really don't care. I just want to help people. I want people to put their hand up and go ask for help. because I want them to realise that their life is important and they do matter, and I want to see them walking this earth.
What cues can you look for if someone is suffering from anxiety, depression, or bipolar? What cues can they look for? Because I'm sure, like, I think depression is probably the number one thing that a lot of people probably have, but don't really address at the time. And it's probably not a thing where you need to get medicated for, but sometimes it's just like a day to yourself, or, just something that's going to fill your cup up. But what kind of cues helped you know that you had that kind of stuff?
It's hard. It's hard because when when I was playing and when I was feeling down, I always put it down to, I always thought or convinced myself that I was just tired from training, when really I wasn't. Training so much and then feeling sore. Or I don't feel, I don't want to do that today because I'm a bit tired and just wanted to sit at home. But, looking back on it now, I know why.
Yeah.
It could happen for 2 days. And I remember some days rocking up into training and, feeling fatigued because I'm not really a good sleeper anyway. So even when got, sleep tests and did all that there stuff as well. So it just came back to, it's hard to look out for signs. It's hard to notice them. But if you know somebody really well and well, then you'll be able to pick up signs a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I speak about having the right people around you, surrounding yourself with the right people. And Craig Bellamy taught me this early in my career. I was about 16.
Wow.
You should have about 5 people, really core group of friends in that you can really rely on. Outside of that, yeah, you got friends in that, but these people, I got my best mate since year 2.
Wow.
It still is today, and I'm very lucky and I'm very fortunate enough. And he's been part of my family. He's been part of my life for that long. Besides him, I've got other 4 people who, and this is where another thing that I'll bring up as well. You need people who can call you out on your bullshit.
Yeah.
And be honest with you.
Sure.
Be there to share good times, but also be there to to listen, the shoulder to cry on. So, and I'm lucky and fortunate enough that I have that. It just took a long time to realise. And those 5 people are all from my childhood or from back home.
The valuable lesson you said there, because you're, at the end of the day, you are a product of your environment. If you're hanging around with shit people, like 9 times out of 10, you're going to go down the same path as them, right? They're going to drag you down, pull you down with them. But if you're around good, positive people that want to share your wins, be around you when you need an arm around your shoulder, like, they're the ones that are going to elevate you. And it makes total sense. You're 100% right. So right now, like, how are you feeling now? Like, where are you at with yourself personally?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I have my diary. I live by it. It's it's pretty much my life. But you look at it, you can look at your schedule, and you, like in football terms, you look at it, you know what you're doing, but you break it down. So this is what I do now. I got my month ahead, I got my 2 months ahead, but I break it down. I don't look more than 2 weeks ahead.
Yeah.
So
stay present.
Yep, stay present in what I need to do within that week. Prepare myself, for that week. So say next week, I look forward to the following 2 weeks, and then see what's going on with that. But it is busy, but like I said, you break it down to make it less busy in your own mind. So you just focus in what you got.
It's actually, I think it's a surprise hearing you be this vulnerable, because when people see you, like, they obviously, like I said before, they see the highlight reels. They say, "Oh, Greg had everything. He had the great, illustrious career." Like, how can someone be so depressed by having that resume? How do you respond to that?
Well, it's plain and simple. People think
Doesn't discriminate.
it's all glamorous,
Yeah.
which it is. It has its perks. But to me, money wasn't really my drive or my motivation. Playing footy was my passion. It was something that I loved. I walked away from a lot of money from the last 2 years of my contract. So that says that money doesn't really, like I just said, doesn't drive me. Being through what I've been through and doing what I'm doing now is what I love.
What about your childhood? Let's go back. Let's take it all the way back. Let's rewind a bit. You grew up in Barrelville or Maxville?
I was born in Kempsey.
Kempsey.
Lived in Barrelville for a few years, and then we moved into Maxville. Grew up around there, and grew up in that Nambucca Valley area before I went down to Newcastle.
Yep. And your siblings?
Siblings, older brother, younger sister, and they're still all living back home. All my family's still back home, and it's probably something that I haven't done throughout my career, was get home as much as I could.
Very hard these days, mate.
Yeah, it is hard. But now I'm trying to make a very conscious effort of getting home as much as possible, which we just spoke about. I looked at my diary, looked at my schedule, and I can just get in the car and go, because I know I've got those 2 days where I can just get in the car. And I'm very fortunate and very lucky enough that my wife understands me and knows when I'm feeling down or feeling, not the greatest. She just tells me to get in the car and just drive back home.
Yeah, wow.
Or if anything, just get on my bike and go for a day ride down to Kiama or up the Blue Mountains and just, clear my head.
What bike you got?
I got a good old fat boy.
Do you?
Yeah, good old fat boy.
When did you buy that? Wait, have you always rode?
Always rode. I just wasn't allowed to have it while I was playing NRL.
I remember
it was in my contract, so I couldn't have it.
Something similar happened to Michael Jennings out in Penrith. I remember we went track riding and got Jenko put a photo out on Instagram that he was all kitted up and stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't do that.
I knew, asshole. Wow. But lucky you know I was there.
No, you can't do that.
No snitches. Talk me a bit more. I want to tap in a bit more into your childhood. Like, did you have to face a lot of adversity as a kid growing up, or like were you always like? Did you always have a promising future? Is what I want to ask as well.
I just always loved being outdoors.
Yeah.
I did athletics. I did swimming. I played pretty much any sport there was as a kid. My parents would, if my parents are here, they'll tell you that I was hardly ever home. Come home from school, throw my bag in my room, get changed, and then I'll be out in the street, just riding around being a kid. And
times have changed. You don't see that anymore.
Times have changed, and you never see that there. And it's either playing footy on other people's yards or playing footy on the road. Even tried skateboarding through one of the things. Yeah. I just had my best mate from year 2. He taught me how to surf.
Oh wow!
He lived on acreage and taught me how to drive a car too. That's when I probably first fell in love with motorbikes. He had an old XR 500, and we was riding that and just being kids, and but that was my childhood. I was never home. I was street light comes on, that's when I had to be home.
Yeah. And you left home at a pretty young age.
Yeah, so I left home at the age of 16. I went to Newcastle. I lived in Kirinari Hostel in Cardiff, and I went there because I wanted to be signed by Newcastle because it was close to home, and it was something that I wanted to do, just follow my dream. And I always wanted to play footy, NRL level, but didn't think it was going to come that soon because you look back at my early years, I was skinny, I was scrawny, I was, wasn't really built to be an NRL player. Newcastle said no to me, and then started getting into trouble after that there. So when I say trouble, I was sneaking out of the hostel, just doing things what a 16-year-old boy would do back then. Yeah, just rebelling. But the reason why, besides the point that I was going there, I was already signed with Melbourne at the time. I signed with Melbourne at 14. So,
did you?
Yeah.
How did you get connected then?
I was doing a under 15s. There was an under 15s comp representative game going on over in Port Macquarie at this time, and the scout came over and had a chat to me dad, and sort of went from that. And I didn't know where Melbourne was. I didn't know how far it was on a map. So little country kid, I just looked it up on the map and I said, not going down there.
Yeah.
So that's why I went to Newcastle. And then anyway, fast forward at the age of 16, Melbourne invited me to go down there for 2 weeks pre-season, and country kid, talent, raw talent, didn't know what hard work was until I got into the Melbourne system, and I think I lasted 5 days.
I'll save that for a bit later in the show, but we're here now. No. We're here now. Talk me about what makes Melbourne such a premier club. Like, obviously, you look at their main pillars. Like, they're a team that never beats themselves. They always pride themselves of an effort.
Yep.
And that hasn't changed. Is that pretty much similar to what you went through when you were in Melbourne? Like,
Yeah.
it was hard work.
It was hard work. And, you know, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have your discipline, you don't have the work ethic and hard work ethic, well, then, you know, Melbourne won't really, you know, invest their time with you. They also got the no dickhead policy. You know, if you don't fit into the system, well, then they're not afraid to voice it. So back then, like I said, those 5 days really taught me what it took to be an NRL player. But it only took those 5 days to get that taste. And when I went away from that, I was like, this is what I want. I want this. Because they made me feel at home. They made me feel welcome. But Craig had choice of words when what he said to me. I took it on board and I just went back up. They moved me back up to Brizzy. They moved me to Brizzy and I went to Brisbane and lived with the Coolwell family and he was a police officer.
Oh, wow.
And I was playing for North Devils up there at the age of 17. I was playing 19s and I was playing first grade up there.
Q Cup?
Yeah, Queensland Cup. But he took me into Roma Street police station, because he heard I was getting in trouble. And I could have went that same way in Brisbane. He obviously saw the talent in me. And that was probably the first time I walked out pretty much scared shitless. Because I saw people of the night and, you know, ice addicts, people, you know, on the streets, just people, really bad people. And, I looked at it and I said, don't ever bring me back in here. I don't want to end up in. That's when I started changing the way I trained, the way I looked at things. And, look, I know I wasn't the best trainer and, you know, that's just being real. But, you know, I had the discipline and the work ethic to do it.
Yeah. Has that always been a thing? Like, I wouldn't class you as the worst trainer. Like when I've met you,
I wasn't the best.
well, no, I still feel like you've had a crack. Like, I don't think I've seen worse. Put it that way. Like, but what is it that you? Why don't you consider yourself a good trainer? What is it about it? About training?
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's
You're not getting that high like you would in a game. Like or it's just the pain and the because it's so monotonous.
I don't know. I just felt like, you know, I loved it. I loved training, but I wouldn't say I was the best trainer. There was other people out there and I just wanted to thrive and strive to be, you know, wanted to be better. And I wanted to be like that, be like those players that were up there at the elite level.
So you're telling me, like, when I see you lifting 150 kilos on the fucking bench press, like, you know, you haven't done any prep work. That does my fucking head in.
Okay, well, that's just, you know.
You're just throwing tin around like it's nothing in the gym.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's just genetics.
God bless. That's unbelievable. So you played with the North Devils and then you finally make the move to Melbourne. Why did you know that was the right time, and what encouraged you to go back down there, even though that first 2 weeks kind of, you know, traumatized you?
Yeah, it did traumatize me, but like I said, it was that little bit of a taste that just needed me, that I thrived for. I knew the work ethic that I needed to do to do it, and I knew the right people down there, but it also made me feel at home. It made me feel like I belonged down there.
Yeah.
They made that environment around, a family environment. And, you know, I had really good senior players down there at the same time. Robbie Kearns, Matt Geyer.
Yeah.
I had Alex Chan, David Kidwell. So I had Scott Hill, had these really good, strong leaders and guys that would look after their own players and look after the club. And they've always said from the very start, and they still do today, no one's bigger than the club. And you got to represent that club the way the person before you wore that jersey represented it. And I guess that's just the way they are. Players down there, or I think any players should represent their club and that jersey and leave it in the best way possible for the next person coming through.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's a good example that culture wins comps. Like, you have a strong culture in place, it's sustainable. We've seen it with Melbourne, we've seen it now with Penrith.
Yeah.
it's a long term. You're creating a legacy.
Yeah,
essentially.
but it comes from the top as well.
That's what I wanted to ask you. That was my next question. Where's this culture come from? Is it coming from Craig? Is it coming from Frank Panisi? Is it coming from the playing group? Or
Well,
is it obviously
it came from back from when John Rebo went down there. You know, when the first franchise when Melbourne franchise come up, he was in Brisbane at the time, and he just recruited very well. Chris Anderson was their first coach.
Yeah.
And you know, when he left, Craig Bellamy at the time was assistant coach, and he was a water boy. I wouldn't say water boy. He was a trainer at Brisbane Broncos under Wayne.
Yes.
So when he went down there, he already had the work ethic, but he also came from the Canberra system. And if you look at the Canberra coaches in the Canberra system, they are the most successful ones in our game today.
Yes.
You know, so the Mal Meningas came from it. The Walters brothers came from it. Ricky Stewart still going.
Laurie.
Yep, Laurie. So all those Canberra Raiders within
Dave
that.
Ferner.
Tim Sheens, you know.
Sheensy, yeah, wow.
So they all come through, you know, that work ethic, because down there, again, I'll say they're pretty much on their own. They built that hard work ethic.
Did Madge come from Canberra as well?
Madge.
Wow, right.
Madge came from it. So
yeah, wow.
Yeah, people don't really see, you know, it all stems from that.
Yeah.
You know, they never had, well, back then, back in their era, they wasn't full-time either. So,
and it wasn't as detailed. The game wasn't as detailed.
No,
right?
so majority of them went into police force.
Yeah.
And police force brings in that discipline.
Yeah, that's true. And core values,
and work ethic, yes. And that's what, you know, that's what makes them so successful now as coaches.
As a player, what did you love most about Melbourne?
I think it was just the group, just the family environment.
Yeah.
You know, everything that we did, we all did together.
Yeah.
Partners, wives, and, you know, seeing the older players having kids and seeing them coming through. You know, I remember being down there and Matt Guy's kids being born and then coming into training. Billy Slater's kids, you know, coming through as well. So, you know, Cam Smith's, it's just one of those environments where, like I keep saying, and I think everywhere that you'll go, you hear that saying about Melbourne being a family environment.
What did you learn about, like, with your time in Melbourne, what did you learn about being a person? What did it instill in you?
I think it's just being a good person is just what it is and what makes Melbourne as well. Like I said earlier, no dickhead policy.
No egos, yeah, because you look
There's
at all
no
the players,
egos.
you, yourself, Billy, Smith, Cronk, list goes on, right? Chambers. Like, you guys can easily say, like, oh, like, they got that ego because obviously all the success they've had in their careers, but you wouldn't.
No, you just be humble.
Yeah.
You know, it's not hard. It doesn't take talent to be nice.
Yeah.
It doesn't take talent to have manners, to say please and thank you. You know, it's not that hard.
What were your highlights in Melbourne that come to mind? I'm not going to make you rank them, but like what moments made you feel special?
One was my debut.
Yeah.
I remember walking off that.
Played wing?
Yeah, played wing. I remember walking off there and seeing my pop, my dad, and my younger brother in the stand. So yeah, that was probably the first highlight. The other ones were, there was a number of them. But definitely the 2007 grand final. Was another one. But again, it goes. I can never ever go past my debut and my first starts of where I started, because if it wasn't for those beginnings, I wouldn't have had that career that I had.
Do you remember the moment you got told? I love asking this question.
Yeah, so Jake Webster rolled his ankle at captain's run, and then I was 17th, I was 18th and 19th man at 17 years old the year before going to these games and sitting up in. I think this is the first time I actually seen Craig blow up, and I walked out there. I was 17. I remember going and I was saying to a couple of other boys,
yeah,
oh, I don't want to be up in the box anymore. But again,
nothing's changed.
Yeah, nothing's changed. I think the only thing that's changed is that he gets up out of his chair and walks at the back. But I think, I lost my train of thought there just cause thinking about it. I think it's, just being around, yeah, it's going. Craig Bellamy telling me, I'm getting my shot,
Yeah.
and I think they straight away got on the phone to me, to my family, and flew them down, and that was pretty special.
What makes Craig Bellamy so unique?
His care factor.
Yeah.
His care factor, though, he really wants to know you as a person. There's a whole, there's a test that happens down there in Melbourne. Have you heard about this test?
No.
Man, not many people do. So the test is that they'll invite you down there. They'll show you around the club. They'll take you out for dinner. They'll take you out for coffee. Yep, all good. What do you reckon the next thing? What would you expect from that?
Oh, I'll be very grateful. I'll be like, yeah, thank you so much. Like, it was nice to meet you. And, no, yeah, I don't know. I'll be in awe, obviously. Like, I'll be so grateful. Craig Bellamy's taking the time to take me to dinner. He's taken me
senior
to
players and that.
Yeah. Oh, it's senior players as well.
Oh, mate, maybe. Yeah, sometimes.
Oh, mate, I'll be so like
Put you
humble.
Up. Yeah, humble. Walk out.
Yeah. Have I
There's
failed?
one thing you failed.
What was that?
Ask, can you pay?
Really? Really?
That's what test is.
Ah.
Hey, I'll don't worry. I'll shout this coffee. I'll shout this.
Wow. So there's no tight asses in Melbourne.
There's a lot of tight asses in Melbourne, but that's the test. All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yep. So that's one simple test.
Did you pass?
Well, I'll end up getting a jersey, but yeah, you go down there and that's pretty much breaks the ice. Just all willing enough to pay. Doesn't mean that you will pay. They'll pay, but offering is the biggest one.
Yeah.
Offer the pay, pick up the bill.
That's so interesting. I would not have. I didn't pick up on that. But I'm naturally generous, and yeah, I know I'm talking myself up here. But like I'm always open to pay. I think it's being Lebanese. But anyway, we've spoken about the good times, the tough times in Melbourne. Obviously, if I could take a guess, like I think you'd want to be a Melbourne player for the rest of your career. If the 2010 saga didn't happen around the salary cap and whatnot, and I know you've spoken about it a couple of times now, but like I just want to hear it from you, like. What was that whole process like for you and the playing group?
Oh shit! It was shit. It was. I was in rehab at the time, and the boys were outside training, and we had the music going, and then all of a sudden, everyone's phone was going off. That was in the cardio room, and then all of a sudden, Craig comes in with the whole playing squad, and it was like immediate. You can just sense and you can feel something's happening. Caught us all in the meeting, and it was hard for him to say, but he just came out and said it. And he's like, "We don't know what's going to happen from here."
Wow.
But I'm just like, yeah, that's one thing that Craig is. He's always upfront and honest. And yeah, we didn't know until later that afternoon that was happening. Next thing you know was. We don't get full coverage. Melbourne don't get full coverage of rugby league. We get a small snippet.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we're all the way through the papers down there. But at that time, it was shit. It was a horrible feeling. I think we went through 4 or 5 weeks of just rocking up and training, playing cricket, trying to get the mood in, just feeling really shit, feeling really down. And then it wasn't until Cam Smith, Matt Geyer, the senior players at the time, just said, you know what, we're still here to play footy.
Yeah.
We still need to train. We may not play for points, but we can sure stuff everyone else up.
Play for pride.
And that's what we did.
Yeah.
I
can't recall you guys losing that many games.
No, we didn't. We didn't. We wanted to go out there and still prove that we are, one of the best teams in the competition. Even though we're not playing for points, we're still going to make it hard for people to make it to the finals, and that's what we did.
When did the realisation come to you? I'll say to you personally about, did you ever look over your shoulder and go, I might be the one that has to leave, or was that ever a case?
No. So how it came about, we played Bulldogs in Adelaide, and I after the game, because I was the last one to re-sign out of Bill, Cam and Coop. So I was the last one to re-sign to build the club around. So I thought for myself, I should go because I was the last one to sign. So I wasn't looking over my shoulder. I wasn't thinking that. I went offered to leave. So I went asked to leave.
Wow.
Because I could have had the opportunity to play in Brisbane, North Queensland, but then ended up ourselves. But no, back to your original question, I wasn't looking over my shoulder. I felt that that I should leave because I was the last one to re-sign.
How did that make you feel?
Shit in a way, but also good in a way because I end up landing on my feet.
Yeah, it's obviously a very selfless act. I'm sure like a lot of the players would have thanked you for it, right?
Yeah, well, they still call me up to this. Craig still keeps in touch. I still keep in touch with Storm boys. Like I said, I was down there at a very young age, and nothing's changed. I still have love for that club, and hopefully I still feel the same.
I was going to say, because it's been 15 years, I feel like just speaking to you now, like you've got this strong connection with that club. Does that still exist?
Still exists. Still, yeah, absolutely. When they come in, if they're not flying in, flying out, or when I'm in Melbourne, I'd just call Craig up, call Frank up, call who's ever in there at the time, and just ask if, hey, I'm in town for a few days, want to catch up.
Yeah. So you signed with Brisbane, but then end up back flipping?
Didn't sign in Brisbane. It was agreed to terms in Brizzy.
Thank you.
And then Russell rings up and then asks me to come down and have a look around the club and see what it's about. But I hung up on him twice. I hung up on him twice simply because I thought it was a prank. Anthony Mundine sent me a text and said, you need to take this call. It is Russell. And I didn't want to meet Russell because, when you want to meet your heroes, what's the saying? Don't ever meet your heroes because they'll disappoint. And I didn't want to do that because Gladiator still is to this day is
Best
my
movie.
all-time favourite movie.
Still watch it before a game.
And I didn't want to watch Gladiator 2 because I thought it was wrong Gladiator 1.
Good thing you didn't. Good thing.
But
listen,
but I love
nothing
them
compares
both.
to Gladiator 1. Let's be real.
But I love them both because they still had a similar story. But what got me to South was not only he touched on the club a little bit, but he touched on his vision and what he wants to do. He drove me around the community and what his vision was, what he wanted to build.
Yeah,
that's what got me here to South.
So it didn't take you too long to sign the dotted line.
Went away for about 2 weeks. Had a thought about it, and then but like I said, what resonated with me was what he wanted to build around the community itself, and you've seen that by getting rid of the Leagues Club and wanting to make it a community bring back the community.
I don't know if he did it back then, Russ. I'm talking about on game day. Did he always used to text you and say what day it is?
Sometimes, some weeks he would.
Man, he gets up for it. Like
I love it.
I love it too. Oh mate, 100%.
Some days, yeah. Some weeks.
Without fail, every week, every game day, I'd get a text from Russ, and it will be like what day it is, and the whole playing group will get it. I was just like, Russell is messaging me again, and it would never fizzle out that feeling. I'm like, Russell's messaging me, wow, and like I've messaged him actually a couple of times, and he responds and everything. I'm like, fuck, man, like it's Russell Crowe, like he's messaging me.
I remember he texts. He goes, what?
I can picture the voices.
What day it is? What day is game day? Is it game day? And I'm like, no, I think it's a Sunday.
Yeah, that's right. You got to reply.
I sent back.
That's right. You got to reply. Game day, baby.
Yeah, I said something cheeky, babe. He said it's effing game day.
I love that. I remember my experience with him for the first time. I played for Norths first for a couple of games, and then Mark Hughes, who was the recruitment manager, asked me if I wanted to come play 20s. I'm like, yeah, sweet, no manager at the time, didn't learn the ropes. and Russ was in the room where I signed to play to play for under 20s, and I was like, I was shitting myself, man. I'll never forget that feeling. Like I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even look at him. Didn't even feel real that it was there. But I actually remember my first experience with you, like when you first came to the club as well. Like when obviously you rub shoulders with like some of the first graders and whatnot, and I'm gonna make you uncomfortable with saying this, but like actually like laying eyes on you, being able to train with you, talk to you, I was like in awe of you. Like, I couldn't believe that you actually played for that club and you were actually considered like a teammate. What was your first kind of reaction with the players? Do you remember when you first came to the club?
I knew there was a lot of responsibilities. I guess, and what would you say? Expectations.
Yeah.
I didn't come to the club in the greatest shape because I had no club to sign with. Like I said, I had that off season. I had hip surgery, and I did come in overweight. I had these stretched earrings in my Lebret pierce. I
remember those.
I don't know what I was going through. And,
I had an eyebrow ring at the time as well.
it was just crazy. But my first impression to the group probably wasn't the greatest. So, but it goes back to, I guess, all right, I'm here now. I'm here to do a job, and I said when I first signed that I want to win a premiership here, and that was my drive. That was my motivation. So I got myself back in shape, and every year I'll come straight back in, and I'll just walk past the scales, walk past the skim folds, and go straight in the fat club, because I didn't really, you're playing and you're training for 10 months. So my time off, I took that as my time off.
Yeah.
But I always made sure I was right for a trial match. I always made sure I was right for round one and for the season.
When I was coming through as well, like that first year, I think, what was it, 2011, right? 2011?
Yeah.
2011. I actually struggled with actually belonging there. Like it was weird because in my 20s, my couple of years in 20s, like I believed I was a first grader. And then my first year actually training with you boys, I kind of lost that self-belief for some reason. I don't know how. And I remember that year, especially like we were having heaps of injuries, and oh man, I don't know how I got into this toxic mindset. Like I'll always like look at the team list and I'll like get my hopes up, thinking to myself, oh fuck, I'm surely going to be playing this week and this and that. And it was actually affecting my form. It was affecting my mood. There was some days I'll come into training and instead of actually being grateful and making the most of an opportunity to play in first grade, it was just eating me away. And I think that's ultimately, and then towards the back end of the year, like I wanted to stay with Souths as well, but I think it was only a $5,000 like preseason contract that they could offer me, and I totally got it. But then that's why I had to leave, and I went to Penrith. Like, do you remember me at all?
Yeah.
Do you actually?
Yeah, of course I do.
Oh, I just didn't think of. Like, I was quiet as.
No, of course I do. Mate, what we used to do is we used to take used to go out for like our team dinners and midweek used to go out there and do that stuff.
Yeah, I used to be. Oh man, I just like. It's weird to say because like you guys were welcoming and stuff, but I just didn't feel like I believed I belonged with you guys. It was fucking such a weird time.
It's weird times, right? It's weird where you feel connected, but you don't feel connected.
Yeah. Anyway,
moving
on. It's not about me. It's about you. You said you struggled with expectation. When did you kind of overcome that? Because prior to you coming to Souths, like you played for your country, you played Origin, you obviously won comps with Melbourne. What was such a big surprise when you first came to Souths and you had that burden on your shoulders?
I guess it was just me wanting to get back to the form that I was in Melbourne.
Yeah,
it was my own expectations. It wasn't anything else. I just wanted to be the best player, the best version that I could be, and I was already on the back foot because I was coming in out of shape, and had to work extra hard, and which I was willing to do. And like I said, everyone kept talking about the 43-year drought, and that was, I just put that in the back of my mind and just really wanted to focus on, all right, how are we going to get better each and every single year? And then that's when Magic came in and changed everything.
Was it harder preseason than Melbourne?
No. It was definitely hard. I think I almost died. I did pass out on the sand dunes at Wanda. But Melbourne's was, they're known for it, and it hasn't changed.
Oh, he was in Melbourne.
He was in
for
Melbourne,
a period of time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't even want to think about it. But did you do that army camp where you were stuck in a room and they were playing loud, heavy metal music, and you had to like separate the white rice and the black rice?
So it wasn't heavy metal music. It was that stupid.
You still remember?
I still remember this. It's Danger Zone.
Oh, that's right. That's what Renato told me.
Top Gun, yep. And it was used to call the lane. So they come in and take you one by one into the lane, and it was just just messes with your mind. And they just put all this rice in, and can't talk. You got to separate the white rice compared to the white brown rice, and one by one they take in. And then the first one they made an example of was Bedlow.
What happened?
Bedlow went into this lane, and he came back dripping sweat, like just done. Like I never seen somebody being put through like that much in my life.
Wow.
And we all looked at each other and went, what has happened? What has happened? And then when we went in there, it was like, oh wow, this is ridiculous. But Ben Lowe, I think most of us went for 20 minutes, half hour 40. He went for an hour 20.
Wow. What did he do so wrong? Why couldn't he get it right? What was going on?
No, they just wanted to keep pushing him.
Oh, man.
Ben Lowe didn't get anything wrong. He just kept going. Yeah, he just kept going.
What a beast! What an absolute beast! I actually saw him the other day. He's looking good as ever. So you did crack the drought, 2014. Yep. I still have these images of you, especially like images on the field when there was like 1 minute to go, like you were clutching your face. I remember the image of you doing the Goanna. I remember the image of you hugging the trophy in the locker room. Did that relieve a lot of pressure from you? And was that feeling just euphoric?
Yeah, because it was very emotional. I just had my son that year.
Wow.
Thinking back to the Melbourne Premiership's being stripped. And also, it was being so much talked about, but we should have won it in 2013. Made it prelims 2 years in a row, and now we're there at the big dance. So
why didn't you win it in 2013?
I don't know. I think it was just, still inexperienced. Few things didn't really go our way in terms of the right plays, probably, doing the plays at the wrong time within those years. But 14, we had a very good balance and, I guess, experience enough with our squad in that 14.
Big games. You ended up playing Kangaroos at the end of the year as well, didn't you?
Yeah, we ended up playing, end of that year. But again, it was, all those, from pretty much coming out of Origin, my focus was getting that premiership.
And what is that, out of all the things you've done in your career, winning a premiership with South, what does that rank?
Oh, it's definitely up there. Absolutely. You can't really pinpoint one, but it's definitely up there.
It would have been
as one
different feeling is what I'm trying to say.
Different feeling. Most definite feeling.
Who was the closest teammate that year for you?
For me, it'll probably be Clarkie. Yeah.
Clarkie?
Yeah, probably be Jace Clark.
Why?
I think everyone would probably say Jace Clark.
Everyone says Joseph Clark's the best teammate.
Yeah.
I had him as my captain for 20
because I don't know. He epitomises everything there is about South Sydney, and he just wants the best for everyone. But I always keep telling him, I say, you always got to look after you.
Yeah.
You first.
Yeah.
Because you can't burn yourself out.
That's for sure. Because he's too nice. He's always thinking about other. He's one of the most selfless players that I've come across as well.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of the guys you want in your dressing room and in your team. What about when I ask you, like, it's been talked about in the media and whatnot, and people use this phrase, "Oh, he's the next Greg Inglis." And now there's a couple of players currently in the NRL era now.
Well, look, I reckon it's all bullshit when people say, the next Josh Mansour, the next Greg Inglis. Everyone's got their own different traits, different talents.
Yep.
And we played in different eras.
Yep.
It's people comparing me, when I was younger to David Peachy. People comparing me to Melbourne Storm when I put size on. It's, I think it's total nonsense. And,
do you take do you feel grateful like you have that kind of reputation? Or is it more like, do you not like thinking about it?
I don't like thinking about it because I want these players to play their own game and use their own abilities and use their own talents to be, themselves, to be their own Josh Mansour, their own Greg Inglis, their own, Adam Reynolds, whoever they are.
Yeah.
Yes, it's good to have comparisons, but, I don't think you probably ever see another, Andrew Johns. I don't think you'll ever see another Jonathan Thurston. Darren Lockyer was one of my heroes, one of the people I idolise. Simply because you look at Darren Lockyer, he's the first one that changed, fullback to 5'8", and he's won Golden Boot in both positions. He's won, so he's when you're comparing or talking about plays in comparison, there may be some traits in few of them.
Yep.
But I just want players to be their own player.
And stop
let
comparing,
them play.
stop commentators or journalists or pundits to stop comparing.
But that's what they
players
do.
to other players.
That's what they do because there may be some similar traits.
Yeah.
But let them be their players. Don't put pressure on them because there's already enough.
Let them create their
on
own legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. What about? I remember actually one thing with you. 2016. I was over. We were on tour in England, and I ended up doing my ACL, which was probably like one of the lowest points I was in my career. Because
training field.
On the training field, yeah. And
you probably was in your element there because it was at the soccer fields where all the
Don't even that.
In your element.
Like that place was so random to have our camp, wasn't it? Like it was just
in
the
middle of nowhere.
It was in the middle. There was nothing to do.
I was bored,
but it was. Listen, it was impressive. Like it was. So just to put a bit of perspective, it was St George Park, I think it was, where England Football Association is based. So
that's
the England
from the under 8s all the way through to the seniors.
Is it?
Pretty much.
I thought it was the only seniors.
No, that's everywhere.
Well, there was like 14 football fields.
Yeah.
There was an indoor field. There was a gym. There was a hydrotherapy room. There was massive physio room with like 20
What
beds.
impressed you the most about that though?
What impressed me the most?
Just about that
question.
facility.
It's a very good question. What impressed me the most? What impressed me the most is how far we are as a code compared to soccer. Like the amount of money that they have in funding to build that. I thought it was a bit excessive, to be totally honest with you. But, jeez.
Can't remember. You know what impressed me the most? Is that every single field on that part was,
picture perfect.
Old Trafford. They had the Old Trafford soil, turf, exactly like they
Immaculate,
were.
yeah. Remember they were using
they
like
had the airfield exactly the same.
Yeah.
Whatever you got, that's what they had there.
And it's not all natural grass. I think it was artificial grass and natural grass, but the fibers kind of like meshed together or something. It was. I remember speaking to the groundskeeper. But for me, like it was hard for me to remember the good times because when I did my ACL, it was just like I was on such a big high, and then like I remember you. Like I was so grateful for you because, and I don't know if I thanked you, but I'm pretty sure I did. But I'll thank you again for hanging out with me because you know what it's like when you get injured. Like you're in your own head. You're stuck in the four walls in your room. And I remember you just chilling with me in my room, hanging out with me because we're all bunking. Like we had our own rooms, but you hung out. I remember you did Coops as well, and like I felt like in my head, I'm like, why are these blokes hanging out with me? I must be like so miserable to hang around. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, fucking hell. But you've got me through it, man. You've got me through it, brother. Far out. I'll never ever forget that, man.
No, because it's care factor.
Yeah.
You're what? You're 26 hours away from home.
Yeah.
And it's,
Bro, that's what happens.
That's how Australia, that's what happens on tour. You take care of one another.
That's what happened. So I was obviously flying back by myself, lugging 2 luggage bags, no ACL, buddy, knees like that. Anyway, and I was just in my own head. Anyway, so I've checked in my luggage, but I still had the kangaroo suit in my hand. Anyway, I left it on the trolley, and I'm like, fuck, I've walked all the way almost to the gate, and I'm like, I've got to go back. So I've walked back, mate. There was like 6 coppers around my bag, full armed, semi-automatic rifles. And I'm like, oh shit, what do I want to do here? And I was so embarrassed to say that was mine. So I kind of like tried sneaking behind it and grabbing my suit. Like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, it's one of the highlights. Anyway, that kicked a lot of adrenaline in my system, I'll tell you that. But ended up being a good tour. The boys won.
It was good.
Yeah, it was good. Did you end up traveling through Europe at the time?
2016.
Bounce around, or did you come straight home?
No, I think I came straight home.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I came straight home.
I remember a few of the boys when
jumping
around.
No, I think I'm pretty sure I came straight back.
Yeah.
One of the tours I stayed over there for about extra.
Whereabouts? What year was that? 2009 maybe?
Might have been 2009. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Venice and Venice, Rome, Florence. Went to Spain. Just did all those store things. Yeah.
Your last couple of years with Souths, or let's say your last year.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a tough one for you. How did you know your time was up?
I always said this when I started. If I was to make a career, when I fall out in love with the game is when I'll give it up.
Did you reach that point?
I'll reach that point. So I got, waking up, going to training, just happy to be there, but wasn't happy to be there.
Was it more physical because you're in a lot of pain? Or
it was more physical than anything. Just getting strapped and getting treatment just to get through training, and then got to times where I'm only trained twice a week, and then playing and being a captain and being a leader at the club at the time. I felt like I just couldn't be that, and I just felt like I was letting the club down and the team down, but that's what I went to Wayne and I said I think it's time. Like I've reached that point, and he said, "Are you happy with that decision?" And I said, I'm content with it, and this is the right decision. Yeah, because I don't think I could keep going on the way that I was going.
How old were you again?
34. Yeah.
You retire, but you end up having a stint with Warrington not long after.
Yeah.
Right? Why did you think that was a good decision for you, and what made you want to get back into the professional sports
Chase
world?
Clark.
Oh, yeah.
Chase Clark was over there at the time, and I don't know, it was more of just a conversation, and rang him up, and it was COVID year, and we just rang him up, saying he was going over there, and I just jokingly said it. 2 days later, he goes, "You want a contract?" And I said, "Oh, stuff it, yeah, why not?" Went over there, and it's different. It's a different sport, but don't take it lightly because it is very talented comp over there.
Yeah.
So, but with players that's here in the NRL that's undecided or don't know where they're going in terms of their future, if they get an opportunity to go over there, craft your skills, then come back if you have the opportunity.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion around eligibility recently. And it's the mysterious case of Greg Inglis, right? You were born in New South Wales, grew up in New South Wales, played your first high school footy with New South Wales, Hunter Sports, I believe. But you played for Queensland. How did you
Yeah, so it was simple. It was simple back then. Your first senior game back then was your A grade. That was Queensland Cup.
Gotcha.
And we can sit here and debate, make the argument, till the cows come home, really. Yeah. But back then, that's what it was. It was where you play your first senior game, not, you know, what age you was.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, with it now, I don't even know where they're up to it now.
Yeah. Did you ever say in the matter? Did you always want to play for Queensland?
Yeah, so what I just said just then, and they just said, all right, here's a contract, here's a piece of paper, and, you know, all your terms and whatever. And if he was to play State of Origin, who would you play for in Queensland?
What makes you feel so much more connected with the Maroons?
I was up there at the time, living up there at the time, like I said, living with the Coolwell family. I felt at home.
Yeah.
I felt like I found my place, felt like I found my feet up there, and yeah, I just felt whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty easy decision then by the sounds of it. Because like right now they're trying to discuss, so only Tier 1 nations aren't eligible to play in the State of Origin arena, right? So if you, like for example, Adam Fanua-Blake played one game for New Zealand, but he was born and raised in New South Wales. Because he played that one game, he's not eligible to play for New South Wales, which is bizarre and stupid. But they're trying to throw all that out now, and so because like obviously you got Samoa, you've got Tonga, they're classed as Tier 2s, but I don't think they're going to be Tier 2s for much longer when you've got guys like Payne Haas, Tino, Hammer now talking about to make the switch to Samoa. So
yeah, look, it can be very political because one, you don't want to stop them representing their heritage.
Exactly.
But again, two, it's like, where do you draw the line?
Exactly.
So is there too much grey area, or is it just, all right, we'll do it 1 year, see how it goes, and then change it, you know, following years? I think it just needs to be.
I think we overcomplicated it as well, but no.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It just says we need to set the rules in place, but then it comes again. Are we just going to be racist and tell them not to represent their heritage?
Yeah.
You know, from either side of the family, of their culture. So, you know,
it's like, yeah, you go play for your heritage, or we're not going to pick you for New South Wales, Queensland. Yeah, I think that's a bit unfair.
Yeah, but again, that comes back to the politics side of it.
And eligibility as well.
Look, someone's going to get upset. Someone's going to be pissed off.
I think it's gone back to what makes you eligible to play for Queensland and New South Wales. Like in my eyes, if you're born in New South Wales, you should play for New South Wales. If you're born in Queensland, you play for Queensland. It's State of Origin. That's the whole point of it, right? But like I know there's a lot of like players that have parents of different backgrounds. You know, you got your Kiwis or your Poms, Lebanese, Polynesian, and whatnot. But at the end of the day, if they're born in New South Wales or Queensland, like let them play Origin. It shouldn't be a problem. Like, and if they want to go play for their heritage, that shouldn't be a deterrent for them. And then stop them to play Origin, which is silly. Because like the next thing I want to lead to is the feeling of playing Indigenous All Stars compared to playing for Australia. Completely two different feelings, correct? Like we're both very proud and honoured to represent the green and gold, but there's still two different feelings.
Yeah, well, saying that, you know, it's exactly what you just said before about representing Samoa, Tonga, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, for my culture, it was a tremendous concept to happen. You know, bringing it to light, having the idea, bringing it to light, and, you know, so many years later, 15, what is it? Yeah, 15 years later, it's still happening. Right. So it's, for it to be, I guess, for our people, for my people, for my mob, it gives them, I guess, our little communities hope.
Recognition.
They get to go out there and get to see their idols, and, you know, but it's not just about the game. It's about what we're going to do to give back in the communities around it.
Doing the war cry, what feeling do you get from that? What do you get from it?
Yes, I get goosebumps because I didn't see myself as a leader in that part, in that, I guess, environment. We had other people, other leaders around there, and it just I don't know, it just came about, and I just said, why not? Why not do it?
It was a pretty inspiring moment by like watching on. And the guy that's now taken over from me is obviously Latrell, and he's probably one that has so many comparisons to yourself. I saw one highlight clip. It was actually a young Latrell playing for the Roosters. I think he probably would have been 18, 19 at the time, and it was marking up against you playing for Souths. I think it was was that your last game for Souths?
No, it wasn't my last game.
Okay.
No. I think my last game for South was Dragons.
It was close, but it was that year when you retired. And mate, it was just almost like it was like a passing the torch moment. What's your relationship with Latrell?
Yeah, like well, fine. Like he's a great kid, and this way, I guess, probably goes back to the start of our conversation here around social media. You know, what do you see? What you see there on the footy field is totally different. Latrell away from the footy field. You know, he's quiet. But he's a family man, and you know, he's kind. So, but I guess you can say that about that to a lot of athletes. You know, just different personas about them.
Do you watching him play? Do you sometimes see yourself?
Mate, to be honest, I don't watch that much footy anymore.
Don't ya?
No.
Nothing at all?
Not really, no.
Do you train it? Do you still train?
No way.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
Not even weights?
No.
Don't even go for a run?
No. Nothing.
Do you ever get the itch? I'm like, I wish I could play again? Nothing?
No.
I miss those days?
No, because I feel like if you miss something, or you know, you miss something that you've done for so long, whether you haven't given it you haven't given it your best.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like I've done that, and that's, you know, I'm on to my next chapter, my next journey.
Earlier in the year, you got recognised as one of the greats of the game. You got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Tell me about that night. Tell me about the experience.
Yeah, well, it was a great night, but it was also, you know, one of the saddest moments as well, because 3 days prior to that, my nan passed away, and she's been my number one biggest supporter. So
sorry to hear.
And getting that call, you know, 2-3 days later, you know, I just wish she was next to me hearing that. But you know, I know that she would have been very proud and that. So it was very, like I said, honourable, but also emotional.
You definitely would have been there in the room with your brother, 110%. Greggy, thanks so much for coming on the show, brother. You're one of the greats in my eyes. You always will be in front of a lot of people, and I wish you all the best, brother.
Thanks, Aussie.
Love you, mate.
All right, big man. I'll let you go.
No worries, brother.